All right. Well, I am here. I came all the way just for the purpose of interviewing Mark Bowder, 365 Runners. And
Charles really needs to get a life.
I do, but I'm retired.
It's good. Oh, right.
That's true.
He's retired.
He's
so
retired.
What are you gonna do?
So he's in between visits of two of my kids out here in the West. So I emailed and said, "Can we come? This would be a great opportunity." And I'm so glad we had a great time today. Where did we go today?
Today we went up to Multnomah Falls in the Columbia River Gorge, and then we drove up the Columbia River Gorge to Hood River, and then went up to Timberline Lodge on Mount Hood, and gave Charles his first real-world experience with running with naked feet.
Yes.
On the Pacific Crest Trail. So at least he christened himself in a good location.
Yeah, and I'll edit that in at the end of this just to show us doing that. So it really is true.
We need proof, yeah.
We need proof for sure, and I know Wendy wanted that proof. All right, so and we have a mutual friends, Tim and Wendy Miller, and then all our other friends on 365. So tell us, I don't want to know every race and every step, but when did you start running, and how did you progress to doing a 50-miler? So just give us a little synopsis of your running career.
A little synopsis of my running career.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know you're a writer, but that's pithy is good. No, go ahead.
Everybody needs an editor.
Yes.
Well, let's see. I started running when I was in high school. I was a chubby kid, and sort of resigned to that. Then at one point I surprised myself and I decided that I wanted to take a jogging class, and I think that was when I was a junior in high school.
So and where would this have been?
This was in Eugene, Oregon.
Yes.
Okay. Tracktown, USA.
Yeah.
So
that's the place to do it.
Got a very early pair of Nike Daybreaks for the old timers around here.
That's ringing a bell with some people, I'm sure.
Hopefully. Great shoes. And so I started doing the jogging class, and I did that off and on for a number of years, and I continued through high school. I ran the local 10K race, which is called the Butte to Butte. It's run on the 4th of July. It starts at the base of one hill in town, goes up about 700 feet in the first mile, and then cruises downhill and then flat all the way to the finish. So you get some really weird splits on that. And some people really fly down the backside. Yeah. So did that for a number of years. Ran while I was in college and did a few 8Ks and some 5Ks. Had some fun with that. Got in better shape, and that was bad. I just kept doing it. When I went into the Peace Corps, I continued to run a little bit in Thailand. Never had any dreams whatsoever of doing anything longer than just running. For whatever.
Yeah.
But I did notice something early on when I was like 19 or 20 or something like that. I went for a run one afternoon on a sunny day and just said, I wonder what happens when I go this way. So I peeled off on some road I'd never been on before, and I went down a couple of miles that direction, and I go, no, this is kind of cool. And I go, well, what happens when I turn this way?
Yeah.
And I turned that way, and I run for a ways, and work my way back eventually to where I got. And when I got back home, it wasn't that long for a run. It was probably about 6 miles, but it was long for me at the time. And I realized I really liked that, just the notion of just sort of exploring things.
Yeah.
And so I continued to do that sort of running, exploring when I was in Thailand. And then when I started working for newspapers in Northern California, I did a lot of that and did a lot of hiking. And continued to run off and on, did some races, never particularly fast. And still never dreamed of doing anything like a marathon. Then discovered girls, met Alita, and got married, and sort of got distracted from running for a number of years.
Yes.
Gained some weight, got really out of shape, had knee surgery, all sorts of things, till we moved back up to here in Vancouver, up in the Pacific Northwest. And at some point, I just decided I wanted to start doing it again. I started the process, promptly broke my foot by twisting my ankle on a rock, which isn't too smart.
Right.
But then kept building up, and then at some
building
point...
up and probably losing weight.
Building up, and actually I'd lost some weight before.
Okay.
I lost weight before starting running. Yeah, that was the weird thing. Running and losing weight never really meshed for me.
Oh, okay.
I always ate more than I needed to make up for my run. Apparently, it just made
I
me
really have that problem too.
yeah, I think we're not the only
yeah.
ones. Yeah. And so continued on. This is really long-winded.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Um,
They'll enjoy this. Aren't you enjoying this as you were watching this? Keep going.
yes,
Yeah.
I'm listening for the applause.
Yes.
Okay. And at that point, I don't know why. Oh, I know why, actually. Eugene had gone without a marathon for a while, and they decided to do the Eugene Marathon.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, you know what? That might be kind of fun to do. It's in my hometown. It's on all the routes where I used to run. And then that was right when I broke my foot. And so I was out of that one. I eventually ran, the first year I ran the half marathon. And then the year after, and then I ran that fall, I think I ran my first marathon, which was the Portland Marathon. And then did Eugene and did a number of, basically I've done a Portland Marathon a couple of times. I've done the Eugene Marathon 2 or 3 times, and the half marathon a couple of times. And I did the California International Marathon 2 or 3 times. 3 times.
Okay.
And then I did Tecumseh, so I think I have 9 marathons total.
Oh, let's talk about Tecumseh just for a moment. Tecumseh Trail Marathon would be, an hour away from me in southern Indiana. And let's be honest now, you live out here in the mountains. And so your initial thought, I'm going to go run this thing called the Tecumseh Trail Marathon. And you don't have to, I just want you to say, what did you think before you went, and what did you find out?
Well, what I thought maybe wasn't what I said, but I teased Wendy and Tim and all their friends mercilessly, and especially Wes, mercilessly about their puny little hills.
Yeah.
And, under the West, we've got mountains. We climb mountains, and you climb these cute little hills.
We eat mountains for breakfast.
And you've got these cute little hills. Little did I know these cute little hills had very sharp teeth.
Right.
Because
we don't have mountains.
No, you don't have mountains, but you got ravines and hollows.
We can grind you up.
And it's sort of like you expect a still and a kid with, a kid playing a banjo and overalls, over every ride.
Yeah.
I found out I had the wrong state for that.
Yes, you do.
That was someplace else, but nevertheless. So I thought I trained lots of long hills to where I was climbing for a couple of miles and climbing 1,000 feet, and then going down for a couple of miles, going down 1,000 feet. I thought that would prepare me. It would prepare me for some, but Tecumseh isn't like that. No. Tecumseh is a 60-degree hill going up about 200 feet. You crest that, you go down a 60-degree slope about 150 feet, and then you cross a stream, and then you go back up another hill, and over and over and over and
Death
over
by
again.
1,000 cuts.
Death by 1,000 cute little hills.
Yes.
With sharp teeth. And
but it's pretty.
Oh, it was very pretty, and I had a lot of time to appreciate it because my ankle, which I had messed up when I was getting ready for it, blew up on me about halfway through going up Indian Hill. Yeah. And I was stuck with walking for the second half of it. So
but you caught some good weather too.
It was beautiful weather. It was no ice. It was very pretty. So I had a great time being out there, and I did manage to break 7 hours for a marathon, which was a little longer than usual. Yeah. But it was really pretty. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to switch to Nike. You are a tester for Nike. So just tell a little bit about, just because I know they read it. You've written extensively about every inch of your life. No, but
it's true.
It is true, but I do the same kind of thing. But just tell briefly how you got involved in that, and what do you actually do?
Okay. There was one of the times I ran the Eugene Marathon. There was a card, an invitation card in the goodie bags that they gave out saying, "We're looking for product testers this year. And if you're interested, go to, producttesting.nike.com or something like that, and sign up, and we'll get in touch with you." Yeah. So I thought, well, what the hell? I live nearby. It's close enough to drive. If if they have something there. I always wanted to see the Nike campus, and I had worn Nike shoes off and on over the years. So I thought, well, okay, sure, why not? So did a tryout, was accepted, and
they found that you really got down to the kind of detail they needed. Instead of just saying, these are pretty shoes, and I felt good in them, nice, and the other pair you had me try, they're good good too. You actually broke it down and would say the forefoot did this and the heel did that. And
Yeah, I'm picky, anal, and verbose.
Yeah.
Go figure.
but that's what they needed.
And that's what they want. They want picky, verbose, anal people. So there you go. So I've done some testing where what they call dynamic testing, to where they have you test different varieties of a particular model that they're going to take to market. And do you like it with this type of sole or this type of tongue or whatever. I've done long-term wear testing to where it's almost ready for production, and they just want to see what happens when people run through the mud for a couple.
And they do some high-tech stuff with you.
And they do some high-tech stuff where they glue reflectors on you and have you run in front of high-speed cameras with instrument belts around you
at a certain speed, at a certain short distance.
At a certain speed, at a certain short distance, over and over and over again. Yeah. To look at the mechanics of what happens when your foot hits. And so that's basically it.
And you get a discount, but really the motive, as you told me, was it's just an interesting experience.
Well, it's fun to see how the process goes, and it's fun to look at their faces when they're trying to figure out why my feet are acting differently than everybody else's feet.
Well, because you've got feet different, but many have seen your X-rays, so we're not going to go there. Area 51 feet is what I call it.
I could provide some examples.
Yeah, we could.
That would be bad.
I'm going to switch gears one more time, and we're not really going to talk about Mount Hood 50 because you had such a wonderful report on that. But I might let you say a little short something. Now you're known as one. Are there any other barefoot runners that we know of on 365? I'm sure there's some that do little bits of it, but I don't know anyone that's...
There was one person who was on Hal's boards, and his name is escaping me right now. Alex, I think? Maybe Alex. Was doing some barefoot running in VFFs, but haven't heard from him much lately. So yeah, I seem to be the poster child for doing
so say on a given week, just even if you're not training for an event, what percentage of it would be barefoot?
If I'm training for an event, I'm probably doing barefoot less. When I was getting ready for Mount Hood, I would make a point of doing one barefoot run of about 3 miles once a week, just to keep my body dialed in and keep the form dialed in and keep my feet awake, so I wouldn't fall asleep. When I'm not training for anything, I might do it a couple of days a week.
Okay.
In terms of a percentage of the total mileage, when I was doing it almost exclusively last summer, I would say maybe 80% of my miles or more were barefoot. Right. I was really working.
And so how many hypodermics and beer bottles have you run on? I'd like to know that, because that's always one of the first questions you hear from people. Oh man, and oh wow, you're going to get all these diseases. So what's your latest count on hypodermics needles that you've stepped on? There we go. Yeah.
It's handy because there's so many out there, they form an even bed. And you just it's sort of like running on bark. You just don't.
Yes.
There's none. There is glass. I've pulled a couple of little pieces of glass out of my foot, but you notice it with the next
fast.
step.
Boom. Yeah.
It's just, you step on it, it's like, ow! And then he's like, okay, what's going on?
Right.
You stop, lift up your foot, go, oh, look at that. It's a little tiny piece of glass. Pull it out with your fingernails.
Done.
It doesn't even bleed.
Yeah.
Or by the time, if it bleeds, it stopped bleeding within 100 feet, and you keep going and you're fine.
Right. And so when you're not doing the barefoot running, what are your favorite shoes? What are your current favorite shoes?
My current favorite shoes are Ultras. They're zero drop shoes, and I use the Ultra Instinct 1.5 for road running, and I use the Ultra Superior, the one, they haven't come out with the 1.5 yet, for trail running.
Okay. And so there wasn't a transition, because if you're barefoot, I think it's zero drop, isn't it?
Well, let's hope it's zero drop, unless you really stepped on a big piece of something. Yeah, there's no drop.
So there's no transition when you went to the Ultras.
So, in fact, that was why I went with the Ultras, because I had been running in Nikes and other shoes that had a heel drop and had a slightly spongier midsole. So I was trying to find something that was as close to replicating the barefoot experience as possible. And the Ultras have a dense midsole, so you get more of a solid feel under it. And with the lack of a heel drop, it also puts your foot biomechanically in the right spot.
But you're probably not going to be interested in the Ultras that are coming out with extra cushioning. Of course, I'm a Hoka wearer, and which is it's extreme. I understand, but yeah, I'm an old guy.
I just want to put birthday candles on them because they look like a kid's cake.
I knew. Okay, and to wind this up, and this has been great. You've done a great job. Give us last few thoughts about your first 50 miler. I know you gave us a wonderful report that I've gone back and read it more than once. I really enjoyed it. It's a wonderful piece of writing. But if you had to do a short little blurb about it, what's the main thing you took away from that first 50 miler?
I read a saying once that in a different race report, so I'm going to steal it. It said, if you want to get a big sense of accomplishment and you want a lot of glory, run a marathon. If you want to take a deep look inside of yourself and see what's looking back at you, run an ultra.
Mm-hmm.
An ultra, whether you like it or not, honestly, let's not kid ourselves, you don't really like it. It strips away a lot of the facades that you put up for yourself over the years, all the adaptations, all of the rationalizations, all of the things that are going on, all of the very reasonable and logical things we do to be able to operate in society. Those tend to get stripped away as you're out there and things
you're on it.
And things aren't going right, and you're left with nobody but yourself.
Yeah.
And you're looking at yourself in a pretty primal state,
it's a good thing.
It's an eye-opening experience.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm still reflecting on what I learned from that, and I think I always will. And the thing I've been told is that it does it differently with, if you do it more than once, you will plumb a different depth of your soul.
Yes.
The next time. So if you're a sort of person who likes to journey, if you're the sort of person who likes to explore, you can explore the world, you can explore the externality of it all, but it also gives you a chance to look within and to explore what's inside.
Are you glad you listened to someone who told you you need to finish this at that last aid station?
Oh, well.
You're forever thankful for that, aren't you? Of course.
I am very grateful that he did that.
Yeah.
And especially with the fact that he came with the help from a place that was a deeper level of suffering that I had gone through. And he never let it show.
Right.
Without bravado, he just said, you need to do this.
You need to do this.
Yeah. And he was right.
And you did say you hated him.
I don't hate him anymore.
I know you don't. Well, thank you so much.
Okay.
It's a pleasure, and you guys have been great. Allie, get in here real quick. Just stand in there. I'm so bad. Millers, I'm going to get Amelia and Rowan. I am, but this is Alec. And just real briefly, how old are you, Alec?
I'm 13.
And what grade are you going?
You're 12.
Oh, busted. You feel 13. When you go to
12 and a half.
12. Oh, man, come on. They're not going to let you get away with anything. And what grade are you going to be this year?
I'm going to be in 7th.
And you've been telling me all about it. What is your life goal? What do you want to do when you grow up?
Study snow leopards.
Right, so this guy is into nature and conservation and saving the animals and all that. So you
and also good grades.
Well, that's important to do that. So I'm not sure where he got the idea of adventuring off into the wilds from, but
you're going to support him with what he wants to do.
Support him with whatever it was. So
alrighty.
I mean, he's a great.
And Alex has done a little bit of barefoot running too, haven't you?
Yes.
He joined us today at the last second. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, here it comes. Yeah, that was fun. So thank you so much. Now let me get Alita. Where is? Oh, they're over here. And just a quick little hello.
What's going on?
I'm doing the 365 Runners interview.
Oh.
Here's my sweet wife, and here's Alita. But this is all you're on all the videos. So, and so you're a runner too, just not lately so much.
Yeah, not lately.
Yeah.
Because of a little problem with my big toe. Gonna have some surgery. But
Yeah.
I've been trying to do some walking and a little bit of that.
Yeah. And your husband did a 50 miler. Oh
Yes.
my word!
Yes, he did.
But he
5
prepared. He
o'clock.
worked hard to be ready, didn't he?
He worked really hard. He had a plan. He followed through with his plan. Even when he didn't want to get up to run, he did trails. He went out in the mud. He did a little bit of barefoot. Got some different shoes. Worked on his hydration. Did research. He's very thorough.
And he had a tough time.
I'm giving you life.
Give him some life.
Oh.
And he had a tough time, but That's probably one of, I would have to guess, that's one of your prouder moments when he came in and finished that 50 miler that he could have easily stopped.
I was very proud of
Oh,
him.
yeah.
I didn't think he'd stop. He,
Uh-huh. Oh,
he
sure.
normally, he guts it out but he's not stupid. If he would have had some broken bones, I know. I only say that when he's not. He would have stopped it if there
Yeah.
was a real injury, but he knew he could do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm very proud of him.
Yeah.
I always
Okay.
am.
All righty. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.